Chapter 6, Mishnah 2. This Mishnah continues to discuss the dispute between the Tana Kama and Rabbi Eliezer at the end of the previous Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer attempts to provide his ruling by means of a logical argument. Rabbi Eliezer says, can it not be proven by the following logical argument that carrying an offering through a public domain, or bringing it from out of the Techum, or removing its wart are permitted on Shabbos? For if slaughtering a Pesach offering, which is an act that involves a biblical malacha, overrides the laws of Shabbos, then should these acts, which involve only rabbinic decrees, not surely override the laws of Shabbos for the sake of Pesach? Rabbi Yeshua challenges this argument. Rabbi Yeshua said to him, the laws of Yom Tov will show that this is not a valid argument. For the Torah permitted preparing food on Yom Tov with activities that involve biblical malacha. Yet the sages forbade certain activities that involve rabbinic decrees, even for the sake of food. Clearly, the fact that biblical prohibitions may be lifted does not prove that rabbinic decrees are also lifted. Therefore, with regard to the Pesach, just because biblical malacha, slaughtering, is permitted, it does not necessarily follow that other rabbinically forbidden activities, such as carrying an animal through a public domain, bringing it from out of the Techum, and removing its wart are also permitted. Rabbi Eliezer defends his argument by refuting Rabbi Yeshua's challenge. Rabbi Eliezer said to him, what proof is this, Yeshua? What proof can there be from an optional activity, eating on Yom Tov, to a malacha, bringing the Pesach offering? True, some activities involve rabbinic decrees, are forbidden even for the sake of preparing food on Yom Tov. But that is because eating on Yom Tov is only an optional activity. This does not prove that such activities are forbidden for the sake of bringing the Pesach, which is a mitzvah. Rabbi Akiva challenges Rabbi Eliezer's argument from a different law. Rabbi Akiva responded to Rabbi Eliezer and said, the law of sprinkling mei hatas, water mixed with the ashes of a paraduma, on a person who is tameh will show that your argument is not valid. When a person needs to be sprinkled with mei hatas on Erev Pesach, then the sprinkling is a mitzvah because it enables him to become tahor and bring a Pesach, and involves only a rabbinic decree. And yet it does not override the laws of Shabbos, i.e. it may not be done on Shabbos even if it is Erev Pesach. This shows that we do not override a rabbinic prohibition even for the sake of a mitzvah. Therefore, you too should not be surprised that these preparations for the Pesach, even though they involve a mitzvah and they are prohibited only by rabbinic decree, will not override the laws of Shabbos. Rabbi Eliezer answers that he disagrees with the basis of Rabbi Akiva's challenge. Rabbi Eliezer said to Rabbi Akiva, in regard to this very law of sprinkling the mei chatas, I can make the same logical argument. In my opinion, sprinkling mei chatas does override the laws of Shabbos when needed in order to bring a Pesach, based on the same argument I used to prove that other preparations for the Pesach override the laws of Shabbos, as follows. If slaughtering the Pesach offering, which involves a biblical malacha, overrides the laws of Shabbos, then is it not logical that sprinkling mei chatas, which involves only a rabbinic decree, should surely override the laws of Shabbos for the sake of the Pesach? You cannot disprove my argument from the law of sprinkling mei chatas because I disagree with you regarding that very law. Rabbi Akiva responds. Rabbi Akiva said to Rabbi Eliezer, perhaps we should reverse your argument and reason as follows. If sprinkling mei chatas, which involves only rabbinic decree, does not override the laws of Shabbos, then it is not logical that slaughtering an animal, which involves a biblical malacha, should not override the laws of Shabbos. Why do you use this argument to prove that sprinkling is permitted on Shabbos? It could just as well be used to prove that slaughtering is forbidden on Shabbos. Rabbi Eliezer refutes this argument. Rabbi Eliezer said to him, Akiva, if you use this argument to prove that slaughtering the Pesach is forbidden on Shabbos, you will have uprooted that which is stated in the Torah, in Numbers, chapter 9, verse 2, the children of Israel shall make the Pesach offering in its appointed time, from which we learn that the Pesach is brought on the 14th of Nisan, its appointed time, whether it is weekday or Shabbos. Since we have a clear tradition based on a verse that the Pesach is brought, i.e. slaughtered on Shabbos, any argument to prove otherwise must be incorrect. Rabbi Akiva offers a final refutation of Rabbi Eliezer's argument by showing that preparations for the Pesach are not the same as its slaughter. Rabbi Akiva said to Rabbi Eliezer, my teacher, Give me an appointed time when these preparations, carrying the offering through a public domain, bringing it from out of the Tehum, and removing its wart must be done, just as there is an appointed time for the offering slaughter, and I will allow these preparations to be done on Shabbos. Only services that must be done at a designated time, like slaughtering the offering, which could be done only on Erev Pesach, override the laws of Shabbos. These other preparations, though, have no appointed time and can be done the day before. Therefore, they do not override the laws of Shabbos. Rabbi Akiva summarizes his opinion. Rabbi Akiva stated a rule. Any work needed for the Pesach offering that is possible to do before Shabbos does not override the laws of Shabbos. Slaughtering the offering, which is impossible to do before Shabbos since it must be done on Erev Pesach, overrides the laws of Shabbos.